I have two sons, mid-teen and younger teen, with my ex-wife. Our marriage reached a bitter end when I learned she had remained married to me for over 3 years, so I would support her through returning to school so she could switch careers to an even better paying one, despite her old one paying as much as mine. For years I tried like heck to save our marriage because I felt it fractured. She played along until she got what she wanted, and then she was honest that she had never really wanted to save our marriage and had been over me for years. When we divorced, custody was set to 50-50 of our boys, and she was ordered to pay child support to me because she was making so much more after she changed her career in education. She remarried a year after our divorce and had more children. After the birth of her last child 4 years ago, things got bad. First, her husband was diagnosed with cancer. Then one of her kids got diagnosed with a long-term medical condition. Then the global issue impacted her job. Our boys would tell me how rough things were at their moms and how they wanted to live more with me. So I went to court and the judge moved her down to every other weekend and changed the child support order to reflect her decrease in custody. Recently, she had to move into a smaller house because of how badly they were struggling, and then she came to me for help after the courts refused to end the child support payments. She told me I needed to help her and that I should be helping to take care of my boy's family, and that's what she and her family are. I told her she used me for 3 years so she could survive off my money. She didn't get to ask me for more to support a family that's not my own. She called me a selfish idiot, told me her family's living off of charity, and they could be so much better off if I helped them. I asked her why I was supposed to care. She told me she wished she had cheated while we were together, and that using me for money wasn't enough. Again, she told me about her family and how they would starve. I told her I didn't care if they did or not. None of them is my problem, and I only care about my kids. She called me an idiot. Her husband sent me a text that night saying I was a cruel idiot, and he hoped the boys would hate me when they realized that I wanted their whole family to suffer. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, and I love the karma. She used you, then left it ended up having to pay you child support because she makes more. Make sure your kids don't have the money you've given them stolen by your idiot ex-wife and husband, and that they don't brainwash them. Is she actually destitute? It doesn't sound like she is. She moved into a smaller house. That's still a house. It's not a shelter, not even an apartment. Are they on food stamps? I'm getting the sense she's having a hard time adjusting to life on a more modest income, but not that she's totally broke. You also know she has a history of manipulating money out of you. I'd leave this up to the courts. Shouldn't the courts lower her child support payments if she was really broke? I agree. If she were really destitute, then the courts would have adjusted the child support payments accordingly. OP, you both moved on. She's going through a rough patch, but that's her life. She used you and is emotionally blackmailing you into being an ATM all over again, especially after using you as a cash machine to get ahead in life. She made you a stepping stone for her career, so you don't really owe her anything. Call her a deadbeat mom. Obviously, she made really poor decisions for herself, and you have nothing to do with it. Take the kids and give her room to work out her predicament. Yeah, how does someone just randomly decide someone else is responsible for them? Crazy. Make sure you have a high-level conversation with your boys so that they're prepared for your ex and her husband to try to paint you as the root of all evil when they go over there. Keep all communications written so that they can be presented in court. She's allowing a man with no relationship with your children to threaten your relationship with your children. I'd go back to court and push for full custody. Good luck to you and your kids. My female 52, husband 56, and I have 2 daughters. They're both great kids that are successful and accomplished, and I couldn't be more proud, but they lead very different lives. We all still live in the same area, the area I raised them. One female 25 travels extensively for work and has an on-again, off-again boyfriend. The other female 28 is married and has an infant son. My daughter with the infant works full-time and is going back to work as her maternity leave is ending. I work part-time but offer to watch my grandson at my house while they're at work. I quit my job, which I'm okay doing. We recently sat down to discuss watching him, and my daughter and husband gave me a list of rules. One they stressed was no animals around the baby. That one was a bit of a surprise and conflicts with the needs of my other daughter. I asked why, and they cited safety. I accepted because I want to watch my grandson and be involved in his life. My other daughter that travels for work has a pair of dogs. She drops the dogs off with me when she's out of town. The dogs can be a bit unruly but otherwise behaved. She's usually gone 3 days at a time, usually midweek. So the time that I watch the dogs would conflict with my grandson. I've been watching her dogs for 3 years. I've informed her that I want to watch my grandson, and because of that, I can't watch the dogs as much anymore. Well, she didn't take that news well and flipped out. Says it isn't fair that she now has to find other means to take care of the dogs, and it's financially affecting her. I told her I could stop by and check on them in the evenings, but I won't have the time to properly take care of her dogs if they were left at her place. She hasn't spoken to her sister or me in the past week. So, was I the idiot here? Yes, you are the idiot for accepting an unreasonable condition to help one of your children at the expense of the other. Would your daughter really have found other accommodations to watch the baby if you had stood fast on the no pets rule? Doubtful. Most animals get along well with children. If nothing else, you can find a way to keep them apart if need be. You chose the needs of one daughter over the other and seem surprised that she's upset about it. Don't be bullied by your daughter just because you want to see the grandchild. Agree with this 100%. Baby daughter is manipulating you intentionally at the expense of dog daughter. You shouldn't allow this. They're not going to pay for expensive infant daycare when you offer to watch their infant for free and even quit your job to do so. If you don't fix it now, this will cause a permanent rift in your family. I disagree. It's not at all unreasonable. You forgot the part where OP has literally been watching the dogs for 3 years. Actually, it's the daughter with the baby who's disadvantaged at this point. Also, I can't believe I have to say this, but your actual grandchild isn't the same as your daughter's pets. OP's not the idiot. Yep, I don't think it's fair to call mom an idiot when she's kind and generous. If anything, the 2 daughters are idiots. They're presuming they're entitled to their mom's free labor forever. They're idiots for thinking their mom is not allowed free agency and being inflexible, respectively. They're being beggars and choosers. Oof, the entitlement. Also, if the daughter's working a job that she has to travel that much, and they aren't paying her enough that she can't afford a doggy daycare, she needs to find a new job. And she already got 3 years of free dog daycare. My husband, 44, and I, 43 female, have 2 kids. Both left for college, and one is in law school now. So we're empty nesters. I love it. I get to go wherever, whenever. Right now, I'm skiing a lot, and we take lots of vacations. I'm planning on retiring in a few years. We invested smartly, and now our home is paid off, and my kids are getting a full ride in school. We can retire without much worry, although we'll still work until the economy's better and our bodies allow us to. The problem is my husband's now bored and wants to foster a child. I'm absolutely against this idea. My cousin did foster a child for 3 years. She's infertile and decided she wanted to foster as a way to have a child in her life. But that child was a complete nightmare and almost made her and her husband divorce over it because it caused so many issues. I know not all foster children are like that, but my cousin's far more compassionate. She's a nurse than me, and she was crying to my sister and me every day about it, and I didn't want to do it. It's hard to tell what a child has gone through, and it's usually nothing good if they need to be fostered. I don't have the energy to deal with it anymore. I raised my son and daughter, and unless they need me, I will finish my last years at work and then retire and enjoy my quiet years. My husband constantly badgers me to reconsider, and I've told him I'm not going to. He argued it would be like having a child again, and I told him I didn't want that. I told him to find a volunteer position at a school or go down to the children's wing of his hospital. He's a doctor. If he wanted to spend time with children. He also works outside the home while I have a hybrid job, 3 days in the office, 2 days at home. So I feel like any foster child will just become my responsibility. But he's constantly complaining that I'm not being compassionate and that we could improve a child's life. But I know that it'll probably change my life for the worse. Still, am I an idiot for refusing to sign up to be a foster? Not the idiot. Also, was your husband the fun dad who basically got to be the cool guy while you did all the work actually raising the kids? Because children are work, and only a dad who only ever had to babysit could act like having the responsibility to care for a child again 20 years later would be no big deal and a fun adventure. I'm also going to bet you did the bulk of raising your children while he worked long and odd hours, the way most doctors do. You've paid your dues and deserve your time off from parenting. Yes, it's never done even once they move out, but you know what I mean. I don't know much about it, but I'm assuming this foster agency would decline you anyway, as you're not on board. Your husband doesn't need a new child. I think he just needs a dog or a cat at this point. He doesn't seem to understand all the work you've done for your previous children. You say it yourself. You love kids, but not anymore. Get some peace and have fun with your life. You have the right to listen to your gut feeling. And if your husband still wants a baby, he should work in a kindergarten. Maybe he'll understand what taking care of a baby really means. I, 21 female, have an apartment 2 streets from my family's house. I have a young teen sister who wanted a way to make easy cash, so I asked her if she could come over before to let the dogs out to use the bathroom. My apartment is across the street from the school, and then after school to feed the dogs and let them out and sit with them for a little while, for however long she wanted to get away from her home for a little bit. She agreed, and so did my parents. I have the Ring doorbell app, and it was the 3rd day she was house sitting. I never checked, but I was just bored and saw her and 3 other girls walk in. I never told her people could come over, so I texted her, and she said it was friends from school. I told her they needed to leave. She stopped answering my text, and about 2 hours later, I got the notification they were leaving. I was upset but thought as long as nothing was stolen, then I guess it was okay. When I got home, my bedroom was a mess. Clothes were everywhere. I'm assuming my sister was trying them on. One of my Michael Kors bags was gone. I was also given a bottle of Petrus wine for my 21st birthday that I hadn't opened yet. I found it half full in the back of my cabinet, wide open. I was obviously really mad. I texted my sister and told her that she was no longer getting paid, that my missing bag would be returned, or I'd be talking to our parents. I texted my mom and snitched for my sister drinking because I was mad, and a young teen shouldn't be drinking. My sister texted me back, calling me a witch and saying that I needed to pay her, or else I'd lied because she fed the dogs every day. I told her you don't get paid when you trash a house and steal. My sister's really mad. She's grounded, and my mom's trying to find out the girls' parents' names. I don't think I'm an idiot because, yeah, she fed the dogs, but things are missing now, and my house is a mess. Am I the idiot? Holy crap, they destroyed your bedroom, stole from you, and drank your own alcohol in your apartment while you were away? I wouldn't pay her, period. Change your locks if you have to, and ban her from your house. Not the idiot. Technically, you will get paid for labor, but you'll also get billed for damages. So dog sitting owed $5 to $10, minus the bag $200, wine $4,000, and house cleanup $10. That's being generous, and assuming the time of both sisters is equally valuable, and the cleanup will not take more time than the destruction did. Sis was paid and still owes $4,200. A verbal agreement constitutes a contract. Pay her and give her a bill for damages and losses. That's the typical legal advice. If she wants to give up her friends for a reduced bill, that can be offered, but in the end, it's her responsibility. On the side, did you keep the video of them entering? With a yearbook, you should be able to figure out who they are. Oh, the yearbook is genius. And forget the Kors bag. The average price of a bottle of Chateau Petrus is more than $4,000. That's grand theft. Tell your sister that if you don't get full satisfaction, you're filing a police report and making a claim of vandalism and theft with your renter's insurance, and they were prosecuted. This is how your sister learns a lesson about treating other people's homes and items with respect. My teen male mom died when I was 7. My dad married Jane when I was 10. Jane has a daughter, Lucy, teen female, and Lucy's father was never in the picture. Jane married a dude and Lucy called him dad, but he abandoned her after 6 years. Even still, Lucy was way happier about their marriage than I was. For me, it was tough to see my dad find someone else, but it was hard for me to wrap my brain around him wanting another wife when I didn't want another mom or mom figure. I never made a big deal out of it, but this wasn't the happily ever after for me. It was for Lucy, who wanted another dad. My dad and Jane realized it was tough for me and put me into therapy, where I still go today. We also had family therapy a year into their marriage, where we had to be open about our feelings. I was honest to a point. I said it was hard for me to see it as a happy thing, and that it would never be the same to me or what I truly wanted, but it was nice to see Dad happy, and Jane and Lucy were fine. Lucy latched on to everything I said, including when I brought up in therapy that I didn't want Jane to try to be my mom or for anyone to think that I now had 2 moms. She would tell me that she was glad she had another dad and how nice it is to have a whole family and stuff. She became insufferable when we were 12 and Dad and Jane had a baby together. She said how we were all brought together by her half-brother, and she told me how her mom had now given me 2 siblings, and that should be enough for her to count as a mom now. I told Jane about it, and she told me she'd talk to Lucy, but she never did. I talked to Dad when it continued. He told me Lucy didn't mean any harm, and that I should take it as an honor that she feels the way she does, because so many kids would be totally against sharing their parents like she's willing to. He told me if she ever gets dismissive of my mom's death, then it would deserve a talking to. Time passed and things got easier, but it's still not the same for me as it is for Lucy. Last week, Lucy started to say embracing my dad as her own was for the best, and that I should do the same with her mom. She said our experiences leading to becoming a family were the same, and she knew what she was talking about. I didn't like when she said that, and I told her it wasn't the same because my mom had died, and I'll never get to see or speak to her again. She insisted it was no different from her. I told her it was, and we'd never understand how the other felt. She got upset with me and said it should be easier for me, that I can't hold on to my mom forever, and I need to let go of her like she let go of her first dad, because they're both gone, and we're better for it. I got so mad and yelled at her to leave me the heck alone. She burst into tears. My dad told me he would talk to Lucy when I explained what happened, but Jane was angry, and so was Lucy, and they said I had no right to yell at her the way I did. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. How dare she compare a set of deadbeat father figures who abandoned her to a mother who passed away and would have given anything to still be with you and raise you? I really hope your dad does talk to her about how this is not the same thing and how you should never let go of your mom. I also hope he speaks to your stepmom too. Yes, she warranted being shouted at because her mom clearly wasn't going to tell her she was out of line, and up to that point, neither was your dad. I need to let go of her like she let go of her first dad because they're both gone and we're better for it. Okay, that made my eyes widen. Yikes! It never ceases to amaze me how people will constantly poke the bear and then get shocked when they get snapped at. Lucy seems to have no sense of boundaries. Talk to your therapist one-on-one. Maybe your therapist can talk some sense into your dad and stepmom and tell them that Lucy needs therapy. She seems to have some sort of attachment disorder, probably due to abandonment issues. I'm so sorry you have to deal with this.